Just seconds after takeoff, a fully loaded passenger jet plunged toward the ocean. This is the terrifying true story of United Airlines.
Commercial aviation today connects millions of people every single day, forming one of the safest transportation networks in human history. This record is built on decades of engineering innovation and layered safety systems. Pilots train for thousands of hours to manage routine flights and rare emergencies.
Yet even the safest systems can fail when conditions change unexpectedly.
Every flight is tracked by controllers and dispatchers around the clock.
In aviation, judgment under pressure can mean the difference between safety and disaster.
One flight would reveal how quickly routine can turn into crisis.
On December 8, 2022, United Airlines Flight 1722 prepared for departure from Maui, Hawaii.
The Boeing 777 was scheduled for a routine 5-hour flight across the Pacific to San Francisco.
United Airlines and the Boeing 777 both carried reputations built on decades of safe operations.
But moments after takeoff, a chain of events would push that safety margin to its absolute limit.
For everyone on board, this flight appeared no different from thousands of others departing that day. What happened next would remain hidden for months, nearly ending in disaster.
Despite advanced technology, aviation safety ultimately depends on human performance in the cockpit.
Pilots must process vast amounts of information in seconds, often under intense stress.
When workload exceeds capacity, situational awareness can begin to break down.
Real-world emergencies rarely unfold exactly as practiced in training environments.
Expectation bias can cause pilots to misinterpret cues that conflict with their assumptions.
In critical moments, even experienced crews can miss the most dangerous developing threats. In critical moments, even experienced crews can miss the most dangerous developing threats.
For Flight 1722, human factors would soon play a decisive role. Weather remains one of aviation's most persistent and unpredictable threats.
On the day of departure, Maui was battered by intense storms and unstable air.
Wind shear can abruptly rob an aircraft of lift, especially dangerous just after takeoff.
Other crews had already reported extreme turbulence and temporary loss of control.
The crew prepared for wind shear, briefing escape procedures before departure.
Ironically, measures taken to improve safety would later add to cockpit complexity. With weather dominating their attention, other dangers went unnoticed.
This was not just a frightening moment. It was a warning.
Understanding what happened requires examining every decision, action, and assumption. The aircraft itself was functioning as designed, with no mechanical malfunction.
Instead, the incident reveals how human perception and expectation can diverge from reality.
Events like this carry lessons that extend far beyond a single flight. The question is not what went wrong, but whether it could happen again.
The Boeing 777 is a long-range aircraft built around direct pilot control. To understand this incident, we must now look deeper inside the aircraft and the cockpit.
Unlike some modern designs, Boeing aircraft require continuous pilot input to maintain pitch.
This philosophy places greater responsibility on pilots, especially during high workload phases.
If control pressure is relaxed, the aircraft responds naturally to aerodynamic forces.
During takeoff, even small lapses in attention can have immediate consequences.
While empowering, this design can expose crews to risk when expectations are wrong.
In this incident, aircraft design met human experience in a critical way.
The captain of Flight 1722 was a highly experienced aviator with decades in the cockpit.
With nearly 20,000 flight hours, his experience would normally be considered a safety asset. Before the Boeing 777, he had spent years flying Airbus aircraft.
Under stress, pilots often revert to habits formed over thousands of hours.
Expectation bias can blind even experienced pilots to what the aircraft is truly doing.
This moment set the stage for how the rest of the cockpit would respond.
Small, unnoticed inputs can have enormous consequences in a high-performance aircraft.
The first officer on Flight 1722 was relatively new to the Boeing 777.
With only 120 hours on type, his experience was still developing.
He was familiar with Hawaiian weather, but less familiar with this aircraft's subtleties.
Differences in experience can create hesitation in challenging a captain's actions.
As pilot monitoring, he was tasked with radios, configuration, and system oversight.
As the situation worsened, uncertainty replaced clarity in the cockpit.
In the seconds ahead, effective monitoring would become a matter of survival.
Modern airliners follow two very different philosophies when it comes to flight control.
In Airbus aircraft, once a pitch attitude is set, the aircraft maintains it automatically. Boeing aircraft require continuous pilot input to maintain pitch attitude.
When pilots transition between philosophies, habits can clash with aircraft behavior.
A relaxed control input can quietly allow the nose to drop without immediate awareness. In high workload moments, this mismatch can become dangerous. For Flight 1722, this difference would soon prove critical.
Takeoff is one of the most demanding phases of any flight.
Pilots must manage speed, pitch, configuration, weather, and communication within seconds.
Non-standard configurations can disrupt the rhythm pilots rely on.
When workload peaks, the human brain can miss even obvious cues.
Fixation on one problem can hide a far greater danger. What followed would unfold in less than a minute. In seconds, situational awareness can quietly disappear. Even before arriving at the airport, the crew knew this would not be a routine departure.
Dispatch intelligence highlighted violent weather surrounding the Hawaiian Islands.
Other crews had already experienced extreme turbulence earlier that day. From the outset, the crew mentally prepared for a wind shear encounter.
The captain reviewed the wind shear escape maneuver in detail.
But preparation for one danger can sometimes blind crews to another. With expectations set, the aircraft rolled toward the runway.
Given the conditions, the captain chose a non-standard takeoff configuration.
Flaps were extended to 20 degrees, providing extra lift at lower speeds.
Rather than reduced power, full thrust was used to counter potential wind shear.
This combination caused the aircraft to accelerate faster than pilots were accustomed to.
The altered configuration disrupted the familiar rhythm of the climb.
Focus remained fixed on weather threats as the aircraft climbed away.
Moments later, a simple command would change everything.
As the aircraft climbed, the captain called for flap retraction.
With flaps 20, procedure requires skipping directly to flaps 5.
But the first officer understood the command differently.
The overspeed margin increased only slightly, contradicting the captain's expectation.
The captain believed the aircraft was configured differently than it actually was. Attempting to resolve the issue, thrust was reduced, but the problem persisted. From this moment on, the captain's mental model no longer matched reality. The captain's attention became locked on the overspeed warning.
Without realizing it, control pressure was reduced.
In a Boeing aircraft, this allowed the nose to begin dropping.
The first officer noticed the aircraft pitching down, but struggled to understand why. With no outside visual reference, the instruments were all they had. The aircraft had entered a steep and accelerating descent. The aircraft was now diving at extreme speed.
Seconds passed before either pilot fully grasped the severity of the situation.
Despite reduced thrust, speed continued to rise. Thousands of feet were lost in mere seconds. As the clouds parted, the Pacific Ocean filled the windscreen.
The first officer urgently called for immediate action.
The captain responded with a full and immediate pull. They were now just seconds from disaster.
The terrain warning system sounded, confirming the danger was real.
The engines roared as maximum thrust was applied. Against all odds, the aircraft began to climb.
Passengers felt forces they would never forget.
The immediate danger had passed.
Only then did the crew realize how close they had come.
Four and a half hours later, The aircraft landed safely.
The incident remained hidden for months. The decision was made to continue the flight. Only data would reveal how close this came to catastrophe. The pilots were assigned additional training. This was not a failure of machines, but of awareness. The question remains, could this happen again? In aviation, seconds decide everything. This time, everyone survived. Next time, the outcome may not be the same.